Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode 3 of Mr. Millennial's Revenge. I'm your host, Nick DiMaria, and I'm really excited to get this one started. Thanks for tuning in. Episode 3, I'm super excited for it because Rosemary Minkler stopped by virtually via Zoom, and we had a great conversation about what she's up to, what she's been doing the last few months since we have been home and dealing with COVID and all this stuff. We talk about the last gig all of the homies were at. Rose's band, my band, a couple others we headlined. Cafe 9 back in December, and it wasn't until this conversation that I realized it was the last time that not only did I had seen her, but a lot of the other musicians that we consider very close and part of the scene here in New Haven. So it's a great conversation. I'm really excited to share it with you guys. So I hope you stick around and check out what Rose has to say. She's an incredible composer and keyboardist. So yeah, before we get to that, just real quick, want to talk about the Patreon. Mr. Millennial's Revenge is part of the New Haven Jazz Underground, which is a grassroots community-based organization dedicated to putting on concerts, clinics, and jam sessions to the public, and we are completely crowd-funded. So if you would like to be a sponsor of the Underground, sign up at Patreon for as low as $2. $2 goes so far and helps us put on all of our concerts, jam sessions, and clinics. We would have just had a jazz festival just a couple of weeks ago if all this mess didn't happen. But the one we did in 2019, completely funded by our patrons and sponsors. So if you are interested and don't want to break the bank, that's okay. We have 4 tiers. You can check it out at patreon.com/NHVJU. I'm going to say that one more time. Patreon.com/NHVJU. And with that, I'd like to add a special thanks to all of our sponsors and patrons who have been still donating, still giving to the Underground. We haven't, been doing as much as we want, but our Mind the Hang series that happened over the summer and is still going on, just on a little reduced level. We could not have done it without you. So thank you so very much to our sponsors. And just to clear some air or anything, none of the Patreon funds go to the podcast. This is completely my own little pet project. But if you want to contribute, you will be paying for funds in funding these events for area musicians and even some not from the area. So I really hope that you consider becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/NHVJU. Okay, that's enough of that. I promise. All right, so I promised earlier not to get too political on the show, but most of us saw the first presidential debate a few days ago, and I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty. We all know what we saw. What I want to talk about is what came after. And I'm not talking about the analysts on, in the media or anything on the news or anything like that. No. The guardian angel of our civilization released a track, and that guardian angel is named Weird Al Yankovic. And you might be laughing, but I'm telling you, and I will die on this hill every single time. Weird Al is a fucking genius. He's incredible. He's brilliant. He's funny. His music is fucking timeless because he keeps evolving with the times. And just when you think, Weird Al's thing is like, when you think he's kind of gone away, he comes back with a great tune. I remember coming home from school in like 6th or 7th grade and putting on MTV and the video to Amish Paradise started, and I lost my fucking shit. I was screaming. My mom came downstairs because she thought I was hurt or something, and I was just like, oh my God, it's the new Weird Al song, you know, and he was covering a Coolio song from, Dangerous Minds is the movie? Like, totally topical, totally, you know, made no sense to me, really, to my little 11, 12-year-old ears, but I thought it was fucking hilarious. Well, he's got a song out that dropped right after the debate. It's called We're All Doomed. I strongly suggest that you go on YouTube and check it out. Do you guys remember the, like, auto-tune the news guys? Maybe? Okay, so if you don't remember, there was a story back in 2013, a man named Charles Ramsey, and he saved these women that broke out of a house where they were being locked up and exploited, we'll say. And it was a terrible story, but he was interviewed because he helped save these women. And, you know, aside from being a hero, Charles Ramsey, you are still a hero. The way in which he explained the his point of view of what happened seemed a little rhythmic. It seemed a little melodic. And Auto-Tune the News grabbed it, turned it into a song. Well, I'm pretty sure Weird Al teamed up with those guys because he definitely auto-tuned the debate. And Weird Al is singing as the moderator, but he's used audio clips from both Trump and Biden as part of the song. It's monumental. I cannot stress it enough. I wish I could play it on the pod, but I will definitely get flagged on YouTube for copyright infringement. So I can't do that. I got the good news. I just got cleared because I got flagged for the theme song of the podcast, Mr. Millennial's Revenge by Nick DeMaria. I was told that song was copyrighted by Nick DeMaria, so I had to plead my case, basically. And I said, well, I am Nick, so how do I prove that to you? Well, that was like a couple of weeks ago. I finally got the result back from Google or YouTube or whatever, and I've been cleared. It turns out my story checks out. Unfortunately, I'll probably get flagged if I put the Weird Al song on, but you need to listen to it. I was dying. It was such a bit of medicine in this fucked up era we live in, and it was just on point. As always, Mr. Weird Al, you are a fucking genius. Maybe one day you'll be on the podcast. Who knows? I would pay for him to be on the podcast just to talk to him. And it's funny because I bring him up with Rose in the interview part. I'm not going to say much more than that, but Weird Al gets brought up. I've been a lifelong Weird Al fan, and I'm not embarrassed by that. I think people who roll their eyes just don't get it. And you know, I don't want to live in a world with people who don't appreciate his comedy because it's so fucking funny and it's corny. Of course, it's corny. It's like legit nerd rock, right? It's legit nerdy. Every year I teach my 6th graders about Weird Al, and I tell them, I show them the behind the music on his life, and we talk about his style. And my favorite part is I show them videos. I show them Weird Al videos, sometimes paired right up to the video in which he's making fun of, and just seeing them like laugh and you know, it's timeless, dude. Like they're like, oh my God, this is so corny. But then the next week they're like, oh, can you put Eat It on again, please? You know, it's so good. And the best part about that unit is I make the kids write parodies, which they have fun doing. I think that's a lot of fun. Ooh, I think I just kind of spiked there. So I'm going to turn down my levels. You know, like I said, the Nick DeMaria studio is a high-tech operation. I mean, my microphone is only inches away from my R2-D2 tin can. I guess it probably held jelly beans. My R2-D2 action figure is at school on my desk. So, you know, I have to always have an R2, I guess, at all times. But yeah, so go check it out. We're All Doomed by Weird Al. Fucking hilarious. I can't stress that enough. So in other news, I wanted to share, I got my first tattoo. At 36 years old, of course, it sounds like a midlife crisis. I assure you it's not. I just finally finally pulled the trigger. I finally just did it. I wanted to do it for a long time, but I just never did it. I don't know if it's out of laziness, tiny bit of fear of it hurting or whatever, but I got it. I'm super excited. In case you are interested, I got 3 45 RPM record keys on my forearm, and I sent a picture to my brothers, and of course, one of them instantly said, "Nice fidget spinners," and the other one said, "No, they're Beyblades." So if you don't know what those are, if you don't know what they are, they're both children's toys. So it's like, dudes, cut me some fucking slack, but I'm really excited for it. I think it's really cool. I'm already addicted. Everyone has said the same thing. They go, "Oh, welcome to the club," and careful, it's addicting. Well, yeah, I've already got I've got numbers 2 through 7 planned, so it's just a matter of time of saving up and booking the appointments. But yeah, no, I'm glad to be. I'm glad that I finally did it. Like it, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, why did it take this long? I don't know. Kind of weird, but super excited. So if bear with me if you see me kind of like tilt my arm so strategically so that you might see it. I just want the conversation starter to be there. So don't mind me. And another thing, I know last time I talked about being super excited for Halloween and all that good stuff, which is still totally true. Don't think for a second I changed my mind. What I'm excited for is on the 30th, I believe, is season 2 of The Mandalorian. Now, already I've lost probably half of you because they're like, "Oh shit, he's going to talk about Star Wars." Fuck yeah, I'm going to talk about Star Wars. What else is there to talk about sometimes? There was a time where when I came home from school, I changed out of the sociably accepted t-shirt I wore to the school building and put on my Star Wars t-shirts or put on my nerdy stuff. You can flaunt it now, and it's just like sometimes I think back to middle school or high school and I'm like, "Oh man, what the fuck, dude?" Like I used to have to hide this shit. I used to have to hide my love for this stuff all the time. You would drop a line like the teacher would give a pop quiz and I'd be like, "Well, I've got a bad feeling about this," or some other, quote or something, or like, "Never tell me the odds." My favorite line, right? Now, people would look at you and they're like, "Oh." Now people praise you for it. It drives me nuts sometimes. But anyway, I digress. Mandalorian season 2. Holy shit, I just finished season 1 again to make sure I was on top of it, and still such a good fucking show. I get into arguments with other Star Wars nerds all the time, or even just people who don't even ask. I just start berating them with my take on everything. But one thing I love to get into arguments about is that, a lot of people now love the prequels as if they were these great, these great works of art. The prequels are fine. They're just bad. Obviously, the original trilogy is the best. The prequels are fine. I like the sequel trilogy a lot. I think The Last Jedi was is the second best Star Wars movie. I'll fight you to the death for it. Honestly, it's no problem. But one thing that I am very proud of is I'm an extended universe nerd. I've read probably 30 Star Wars books that were mostly written in the 90s. So I think that's why I get so smug about this stuff. Is like, well, when in 1997, excuse me, I was reading the Black Fleet Crisis. Sorry, you didn't get around to it. But no, I love it. So Mandalorian, if you don't know, or maybe you do know, it takes place in the post-Return of the Jedi world, which is my favorite era of Star Wars. I love the era and the adventures that happened after the original movies. With Luke becoming like a Jedi and Han and Leia. Leia becoming this established politician, I guess you could say, and Han being Han. Just some cool stuff. And then, and even farther into the future, you get Jaina and Jason Solo. Jaina Solo, probably my favorite Star Wars character of all time. And if you're familiar with her, then you understand the concept of Rey actually a lot better, because she was clearly molded from Jaina Solo. I should have a whole Star Wars episode. I could talk ad nauseum. I think maybe I will. I think so, because I clearly want to talk about it. But no, I'm super excited for The Mandalorian season 2. It's gonna be fucking cool. What a great show! I really enjoyed it. I think this was the first time I watched it from beginning to end, like in one sitting since it first aired. I would pop in episodes I liked, more so than others. So every once in a while, if I had nothing, if I had some time to kill or wanted to watch something, I'd pop on, an episode that I remembered I really enjoyed. And but this time I watched the whole thing through again, and damn, it's just so fucking good. If you're not familiar, I know it's not for everybody. I don't know how, but I recognize that it's not for everybody. Check it out, Mandalorian. It's really cool. It's awesome to see adventures and stories and characters in the Star Wars universe that are not attached to our main characters. There's such a for lack of a better term, there's such a huge universe in the extended universe. And Timothy Zahn, the first writer of the EU stuff, fucking brilliant, man. A lot of things that happen in Star Wars now, he invented, like in his book. So if you're interested, check out the Thrawn trilogy. It starts with Heir to the Empire. Came out in like 1991. Still fucking good. I get around to it every once in a while. And if you don't have time to sit down and read, the Audible version is so good. The narrator, Mark Thompson, he did most of the Star Wars books from the 90s. Great voices for the characters and just everything. Super cool. So I'm really excited for that. I'm always looking for the next sci-fi fix on the horizon. I'm excited for The Expanse to start back up in December. If you don't know what that is, it's the opposite of Star Wars. It's more like realistic sci-fi. Several hundred years in the future, and humanity lives on Earth, the moon, Mars, the asteroid belt, and all these other planets and moons and stuff throughout the solar system. And just really believable kind of sci-fi. That's what I really love about it. It's like you're watching it and you're like, this doesn't seem like Star Trek just seems too far away, right? It just seems like, this machine does this, and for whatever reason. Star Wars is like that too. But Star Wars is more of a science fiction fantasy. That's it does make a difference. The Expanse feels real. It feels like you could imagine what the lives are for these characters. And it's pretty cool. Earth's like a country. Mars is like its own country. There's like a Cold War going on between the two of them. They use the asteroid belt for supplies and minerals and all kinds of stuff. And the people that live on the asteroid belt, they're called Belters, and they feel mistreated by everybody else, and they have their own languages. It's just such a cool concept based on books. I just finished book 5. It's like Game of Thrones, one book per season almost. So season 5 is going to be fucking wild because book 5 was nuts. And if I had another recommendation for this episode, it would be to check out The Expanse and just kind of like make sure you're watching it in the dark because all the shit going on in outer space, it does help. So I don't sometimes I just like to rap about things that I'm really excited about. There's nothing wrong with that, right? So in one short stint on one episode, I've managed to talk about Weird Al, getting my first tattoo, and Star Wars. I will, if I'm not flagged for stealing my own music, I'm definitely going to be flagged for really nerdy content. And people are going to say, wait, I thought this was a grown man hosting this podcast. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. I mean, now, like I was saying, like nerdy shit is cool now, and you don't have to hide it. So maybe I'm just conditioned to think that I need to apologize for this stuff, even though I don't. Yeah, fuck it. I don't. Star Wars is cool. Weird Al's cool. I like my new tattoos. Just go with it. We're white knuckling it at this point. If the fly on Mike Pence's head has taught us one thing, is that we're hopefully this ride is over. Just hold on a little bit longer, right? Anyway. So let me get to my interview with Rose Minkler. Rose is a pianist, a composer. She's like a keyboard junkie. She's done things for Korg, and it's very hard to not hear her switch from the acoustic piano to something electronic in mid-performance, which is cool. She's been a side woman in a couple of my projects, and it is always a blast to talk to Rose. And it's been too long, so I'm really excited for you guys to hear this interview. Let's get to it. And joining me now in virtual studio is keyboardist, composer, pianist, good buddy to all, Rosemary Minkler. How's it going, Rose?
Oh, it's so good to see you.
I know, same. It's, pandemic aside, it's been too long.
I know.
But now the pandemic has just made it feel that much longer. I was just saying before we started, it took us a while to get my microphone set up because I'm pretty basic at this, but I'm gonna manage. I got a 5-month-old puppy. She's sleeping on the couch. My wife is getting her tattoo finished tonight, so I might have to go do dog dad detail.
Amazing. I have so many questions already.
Yeah, my life has significantly changed since March in quarantine, but in general. But
sounds like for the better.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but let's catch up, man. It's been forever. So.
I know. I think the last time was our Cafe 9 show back in like December, and that was like
one
shit. Of the
I played Cafe 9
memories.
Oh God, it's I mean, one of my good friends, Jared Caddy, he was on last week, and he listened to episode 1, and And right before he was on, he said, look, like don't talk about COVID too much because people are not going to want to listen if you're always lamenting. However, so far I keep, wanting to do episodes with friends who not only have I not seen for a long time, but some of them I have not seen because of quarantine.
Right.
So it's hard not to. But yeah, I think our the last time we saw each other was last winter. At the illustrious Cafe 9 in New Haven. And what were you playing with your trio, or what? I don't even remember the lineup.
Yeah, so I had Jeff and Eric, and then I also had Josh play, I think, on most of the songs. So the trio plus Josh Walker. Yeah. And that was like one of the last gigs before things got crazy, and that's one of the last gigs that I remember like, oh, this was a great night because all the homies came out, and musically it was just super fun. That
was I remember, it was December, and it had this kind of like round I don't know what's the like a reunion vibe, but like it just like you said, it just felt like everybody was back. And a lot of people involved were not gone to begin with, but it just had this 2016 vibe maybe to it, 2015 vibe. It just felt like a couple of years prior, and everyone was just hugging and saying hello, and there was a lot of like laughing and stuff. It was so tender now that I think about it, you know. But
that was a good day. Night.
I'm staying positive. I think we'll get back there. We just got to muscle through it.
Improvise.
Yeah. But speaking of the trio, I was just listening to the EP you guys did.
Yeah,
I'm such a bad host.
Oh no!
I got it queued up. I'm so bad with track names. You name a classic Blue Note album, and I'll be able to tell you what number track it is. I won't remember the name. High Tides is your EP. I was doing my homework. I was like, oh, make sure I don't sound like I don't know anything about someone I consider a friend. So I made sure I listened to made sure
don't
I
worry.
queued everything up.
It's not quite a classic yet, but maybe give it 20, 30 years.
Well, what I like, of course, what I love, what I like about it is you unapologetically play some standards with like a backbeat, and I think I fuck the naysayers, man. I think that's cool. Like, I'm okay with that kind of stuff. I don't think there's anything wrong with it if it's done tastefully, and
if it feels right.
Right. So the puppy and I were kind of grooving out to your rendition of Green Chimneys, and I was just like, yeah, man, like, all right, But then it made me nostalgic for, I always think about the Ninth Note gig that my band played. The Recess Bureau. Yeah. Oh my God. Talk about.
Rip.
Yeah. Oh boy. For anyone who doesn't know, my electric quintet played with our good buddy Jeff Morrow's 1,300 member group.
Yes,
called
it's a collective.
Called the Recess Bureau. No, well, I mean, what were you guys, like 8 max probably? It's just you were a big band, quote unquote. Yeah. And that was like, as long as our two bands played together on the same bill, there was always a crowd. It was very
probably because really all of us we were such a big band that if you had us in the crowd, that was good enough.
Right. I know. If it was like, oh man, if I can open for the Recess Bureau, that means during my set, there's like people in the audience, and that's pretty dope. Even if they're bringing in gear, I'm okay with it. So, but that's, I always think about that gig. I think it was like the summer right before they shuttered, I think it was like the last hoorah probably.
Yeah, and now I'm in Stanford, living in Stanford, so I've come full circle.
I know you are. You just moved. You were living where in the city?
Yeah, I was in Brooklyn for about 3 years, and when the pandemic happened, I went back to Connecticut after a couple months of being held up in lockdown, quarantine. So it's nice to get to hang with my parents for an extended amount of time. And then my boyfriend Itamar Govari, we decided to take the move and move in together in Stanford, just right outside the city. So far it's been really great, a little bit more space and more accessibility to really everything.
Yeah, I mean, I was living vicariously through a friend way back, like my senior year of college. He was living in Alphabet City, and I would spend like my Friday nights in the East Village with him. Amazing. And I would sleep over on the floor between his bedroom and his kitchen floor, like one half, Yeah. And I was like, I that was very influential on my decision to find a new town. Not that I don't love New York. I love it as one does, but I'm always like, I always got like this smirk on my face when I say it's good to see you back. Nice to have you back. I just think our scene's really good, and when really talented and really cool people stick around, that always warms my heart. And I'm always like, hey man, like, stay here. Let's do it all here. It's only 100 miles away. Like, just you can go visit. But I can imagine the quarantine influencing the move.
Yeah, it was definitely a bit depressing to be, inside for so long, not really be able to go anywhere. We made sure to go to the grocery store and stock up for 2 weeks so that we wouldn't have to go back. And doing laundry at the laundromat is one of the worst things ever.
Yeah. My then fiance, Jill, she had, let me even back it up. We got this gigantic box delivered from Target in early February or whatever, and it was all cleaning supplies and soup and stuff. And I was like, what are you doing? And she's like, this virus is supposed to be bad. And I actually I admit, I'm like, nah, you're overreacting. She definitely I owe everything to her. She definitely kept us alive for a little bit longer, a little, you know, in comfort, a little bit quicker than most, I guess. Yeah. And she's terrible she will admit she dawdles in the supermarket. So I was the one that went out to do all that, you know, domestic shopping, and it was scary. And we were in a 1-bedroom apartment in Hamden.
Right. Yeah.
And we saw the writing on the wall. We were supposed to get married in July at the Palace in Waterbury.
Oh,
you know,
that would have been
Rose
such a beautiful wedding.
I know, Rose. We'll talk about Waterbury in a second. But yeah, like we got the alert that this house got on the market, and we looked at it just for kicks, and we saw the writing on the wall, you know, and we're like, let's just fucking buy this house. We love this house. So that's how I ended up here. And I don't, you know, I think back on it and I'm like, holy shit, if the two of us can survive quarantine in such a little place, we'll be okay. So I think we're okay now. So we're in East Haven, and
amazing.
Yeah, I've got a salt marsh behind me. It's very
beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah, you can't beat the suburbs, like being able to get into nature.
I'm the same distance to downtown as it was.
Oh, amazing.
It's like super perfect. So, and we were supposed to get married at the Palace, but we got married in our backyard, which is what I always wanted to do. And I was shot down the second we got engaged. I was like, let's just get married in someone's backyard. Nobody wanted to do that. My mom was so mad at me. She was like on the fence about it. But my mom was like super pissed. She was like, oh my God. Not. You know, and then we ended up getting married in the backyard. So I was like, showed you, Mom. That's like, you know, yeah, Mom, I'm getting a degree in jazz.
Right.
There's nothing you could do to stop me.
Now I'm getting married in the backyard. I feel like a backyard wedding is like perfect. Like you save a lot of money. It's super chill. You can have however many people over.
Well, we were only allowed 25, so
right. Well, COVID aside,
I know. You're right. Over. You're absolutely right. And we wish that we could have had all the homies there, and hopefully, you know, we're supposed to still do the planned event next year. Here's hoping. We both agreed that if it doesn't work out, we're just never gonna have it because we can't go through this again another year.
Yeah, it's emotionally and financially, you know, straining.
Yeah. I mean, I was talking on the podcast the other day, like if it weren't for lockdown, I wouldn't have taken a break from hustling, and that's like one reassuring thing from being forced to stay home and forced not to work is like, I finally like cooled it, because when I was saving up to get married, you know, I was playing it felt like prostitution. I was just going from whatever job I could get to the next job. And you know, it was too much.
It's definitely nice to have like time to reflect and look inward and just kind of work on stuff that you've always wanted to work on. So that's been the plus side, you know?
Yeah. I think I'm sure you have, and I definitely want to ask you, but I'm sure you've written some new stuff or tinkered or gotten new ideas down, because you're a tinkerer.
Minkler the tinkerer.
Minkler the tinkerer. Oh, you're welcome. But yeah,
leave that on my business card.
You better. Gross. What have you been up to? Like, you know, how you dealt with COVID, with all this reflecting and tinkering? What any new ideas or any new approaches? What are you up to?
Yeah, to be honest, it's been a little hard to stay motivated musically and, you know, try to be creative, but just taking the time to like get back to some basics. I've been playing a lot of like classical stuff, like working on my Bach inventions.
There you go. Yeah.
Yep. And getting back into like more production, so kind of, you know, messing around in Ableton and making beats, just fucking around basically.
Yeah, I have like 36 unfinished tunes in GarageBand. And I totally get it. I'm focused enough, I'm inspired enough to start the idea but not finish it. So maybe in 2021 I'll have like all these songs completed, but not right now, because every time I would go start something new, I work on something I'd start something new. So it was just like every time I sat down there was a new file created, and it's just like, God damn it, fucking finish something, you know. But you know, I think I think you're not alone in that. You know what's crazy is before the pandemic, I was so judgmental of Netflix because I'm guilty of spending 45 minutes trying to find something I want to watch.
Oh yeah.
Because usually the good stuff is something I've seen a million times. How many times can I watch Happy Gilmore? You know, really? But now that I'm unfocused, I've been watching a lot more Netflix and TV and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I'll watch this like Danish night show that's clearly terrible, but I've got nothing else to do. So, you know,
try something new.
Yeah. I'm definitely more forgiving of Netflix's B-level material than usual. So, yeah.
Netflix is a savior right now.
Yeah. We've got all the subscriptions going, and we have HBO, and I found out that all like the classic Godzilla movies are streaming. What? So yeah, I've got this like secret not obsession. It's a guilty pleasure for sure. I think those movies are so cool because they're so bad. They're the classic like you can see how fake they are. Like yes, it's just so good. But yeah, I mean, we are all getting our subscriptions worth with TV.
That is for sure. That is for sure.
Yeah. So Rose, we both have roots in Waterbury. And for those of you listening who don't know about Waterbury, it's the brass city.
Yep.
But it's where we're from. It's nothing of significance. It's just like if you know it and you're from it, you get it.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say your old school closed.
I know. Yeah. Chase Collegiate School. It's very sad, but
are there any notable alums that the layman would know? There's got to be somebody, right?
I'm trying to think.
We should have Wikipedia'd this.
I know. I should have looked this up.
I bet the guy that invented like, I don't know, the wrapping that goes on butterscotch candies like went there. You know what I mean? Like something that's something very Connecticut. I bet something like that.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So I went to Chase starting in 4th grade. Actually, I was in Waterbury Public School up until then, and
I was a Waterbury Public School teacher for a while.
Oh, what school did you teach at?
Wallace Middle School. Yeah, it's long in my rear view mirror now. But
yeah,
I get it. I get it.
Yep. So Waterbury Public School for a little while, and just kind of realized like needs a little bit more, educational stimulation. So it was either moving to a different town with better schools or going somewhere else. And I just fell in love with Chase. At the time, it was St. Margaret McTurnan.
Oh, okay. They were the same school, or?
Yeah, so they just changed the name. When I was in 5th grade, 2005, they changed the name of the school for
got it.
Whatever reason.
Yeah, probably to allure more people. Because
yeah,
all my cousins went to Holy Cross High School, which is like next door, right?
Right around the corner.
Yep. All my and a lot of them didn't even live in Waterbury. They lived in other towns, but ended up at Holy Cross. So I feel like I knew. At any given night in middle school or early high school, if I went to the Waterbury Mall and ran into, I could run into people that I didn't go to school with, but knew in some way, shape, or form, and they all went to Holy Cross. They all, they're like, oh, I know your cousin. Hey, I know, your other cousin, stuff like that. So
totally.
But yeah, and then the Palace Theater, which is a very historic theater downtown, and I actually saw Weird Al there like 4 times.
What?
I think, I've seen Weird Al so many times.
I didn't know this about you.
Oh man, let me share, please.
Yes, please.
He's actually my first concert.
Whoa. Yeah. He took your concert virginity?
He did. So like most 9-year-olds, 10-year-olds, I was introduced to Weird Al. This is like the mid-90s, early mid-90s, and my family and I were at the Big E, and I could hear the music to Fat. The song Fat, where he wears the big suit.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh my God, I think he's here. And then I ran, and if you know where the stage is at the Big E, there he was. He was in the fat suit. He's doing the whole thing. And I was like, oh my God. And my parents, God bless them, they
they let us stay. They let us stay and watch. And yeah, my first concert, Weird Al. But I've seen Weird Al maybe a dozen times, and at least half of those times were at the Palace Theater, Waterbury.
Really? He must love Waterbury then.
I guess so. I mean, it's a good theater. It's nice.
Yeah, it's beautiful there.
It is. It is. If you've ever been to our listeners, any kind of old historic theater especially in the Northeast, they all have this look to them, and the Palace is got that look, that big domed like ceiling and stuff, and I don't know, there's like this old Hollywood vibe to it or something.
Definitely. Have you played at the Poli Club there?
You know what? I was supposed to play the Poli in August.
Oh,
yep.
shit.
I got booked in the spring.
Yeah.
And yep, sure enough. I was, before I was saying this before, my last gig was March 8th. The following weekend, I had a gig booked every night, and one of them, they were all at like my favorite places, and I was so pumped. And I think around that time I just confirmed my date at the Poli Club, and I didn't didn't get to do it, but I've been in there. Jill and I had our wedding tasting the food. We tasted the food there, and I was like, oh yeah, they have jazz here. And they had like the stage was set up and stuff. But they've gotten they would have like real heavy hitters there.
Yeah, I think the guy that books it is Mike Gow, who works at the Litchfield Jazz Festival. So he gets all those guys to come and play, like Albert Rivera.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know the Litchfield Jazz connection. Did you ever go to their camp?
Oh yeah, that's how I fell in love with jazz.
Oh, tell us, Rose, your love.
Baby
Rose and Jazz. Yeah, a love affair. When was this?
I think my first year there was right after 9th grade, so like 2010 or so.
Oh, geez.
And I honestly had no idea what I was getting myself into. I had not listened to jazz before, really, or played in a jazz style. So I had to do some research. I did some listening to Oscar Peterson and Bill Evans before going. And yeah, that first summer, that really changed my life, to be honest.
Sure.
After
I mean, you think about it now, yeah.
Yeah, after discovering jazz, I was like, oh, I can actually learn this and take my time learning it and make a life out of it. So
yeah, for sure. That's awesome. I always like to reflect that. My first experiences with jazz were, being in jazz band, because I just loved playing the trumpet, and I was like, oh, I could be in another band. Sure, I'll do it. And I thought soloing was just like you wiggle your fingers and just whatever happens. And it was so reassuring to find out that when I started taking lessons with Eddie Henderson, he was like, oh, when I first went to jam sessions, I thought you just, blew and wiggled your fingers. And I was like, hey, me too. I bet you've been embarrassed big time as well. And he's like, I sure have.
Oh man.
But yeah. 2000. I think I stopped going by 2010. I used to go to the festival. I went, let's see. I think I went probably summer 02 through probably 06 or 07. I got to see Wayne Shorter.
Oh wow!
With the quartet, that was cool.
Yeah.
But that was like 03. It was right when the album Footprints Live came out. So they were doing all that stuff where they were playing like his classic hits,
Yeah.
But I remember just being like, some kind of wormhole opened up and the sound came out of it. Like there was some heavy stuff coming out. And
oh man.
But I remember I had tickets to see Ray Charles one year, but he died right before the festival. I think that was 04. I think I still have the ticket too.
Wow.
Yeah, he passed away right a couple of days before. And bring it back to the Palace, James Brown died on Christmas Day, right? Christmas Day 2006. He was supposed to play the Palace Theater the day after Christmas. Anyway.
Why'd he have to do that?
I know. Couldn't you just wait one more day, man? Come on. No, R.I.P. to the
true legend,
King of the Funk. But one of my favorite memories of Litchfield was, and it's gonna kill me what year it was, but Soul Live played. It might have been the same year. They might have played after Wayne Shorter, to be honest with you.
Whoa, that's an interesting combination.
Yeah, it is. And what happened was it was I can't remember if it was the same year, but I know before Soul Live started, it poured. So when they went on, they let everybody who was just getting soaked like under the big tent, because it was definitely the last act of the night, I'm pretty sure. And I mean, they drew all these like jam band scene hippies, you know,
for sure.
and so they're doing their thing, and there's people dancing, and they're all muddy and gross, and you could see all the more established, maybe shall we say uptight crowd not like it at all. And you could tell they were pissed.
Oh, damn.
And I swear to God, the following year was all old-timey classic vocalist stuff. It was like, we are gonna book acts to keep these kids,
those people out,
these idiots out of here. Yeah, they definitely thought like hooligans were taking over, and it was really just kids dancing at a jazz festival, which in retrospect should have been embraced from moment one. But you know, we all know that song and dance.
I do remember one year I was there at the festival, Trombone Shorty played, and this girl that I was like hanging out with at the camp the week before, she like got up on stage, and I think she might have crowd surfed, and that was like, I think people were probably a little shocked about that. But it was so much fun.
You don't crowd surf at a jazz. You know, it's so funny. Last episode, I was talking to Jerry Caddy about, we were saying we brought up stage diving somehow, and at the Litchfield Jazz Festival during the Matt Wilson Quartet, the horn players jumped off the stage at the end of their set. They had this like Led Zeppelin style epic ending to their last tune, and I remember, if anyone who was at that show knows what I'm talking about, they both just jumped right off stage.
Man.
Same. They probably were like, please don't do that at our prestigious jazz festival. But they should have. They should have booked only book groups.
Only stage divers. Yeah. Wow. I could see that happening with Matt Wilson's group. I love him so much.
Oh, I know. We were talking about him last episode. We were just talking about how great he was. Everyone who's lined up to be on the show coming up is like a WestCon alum. So all we've been doing is talking about former clinicians, and we brought up Matt Wilson and how cool he is, and
one of the best.
Yeah. But he teaches at the camp, right? I mean, yeah. I only went to the camp once because I really wanted to take a lesson with Dave Ballou.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, and he I knew he taught there, so I just like made sure to like reach out to him when he was up there, because he lives in Baltimore, I believe.
Yeah.
And then this way it was, you know, easier drive for me. So I went up to the camp, and it was weird because I saw Josh Walker, our good friend Josh Walker. He was like walking across the campus as I came on, and he definitely looked at me, gave me that like raised eyebrow, like motherfucker, what are you doing here?
Josh Walker look.
like I'm so happy to see you, but really, what are you doing here, kind of thing. And I told him what's up, because you know, I mean, our good friend Josh works. He's a counselor, I believe, right?
Yeah, he worked there for a lot of years.
Yeah, so he helped me out, and then there were like people I kind of knew, and they were campers, and I'm like a grown man walking around, just being like, "Oh, I'm here to take a lesson." Hey, so guys. no problem. So that was the only time I was up there. Awesome. That was at some private school, right? New Milford. What's that one?
Yeah, they moved around a lot, but yeah, I think the one in New Milford, Canterbury School.
Oh yeah, that sounds right. I think they did like a virtual camp this year.
Yeah,
I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know either, but I mean, jazz virtually.
Well, I mean, I'm teaching remotely.
Right. Yeah. How's that going?
Well, so it's really daunting to like set up my keyboard and sing like some song I do with second graders every year. When I can't hear them or anything, that really bugs me out.
Yeah.
So I started pre-recording everything, and it's been interesting because like I'm putting the songs into GarageBand and stuff, so I'm able to use like patches I can't use when I'm in the room with the kids. Like I just did this like song about a ghost, and I had like you know I doubled the vocal line, and I added like monster vocal to it. So you know, it's just like spooky shit happening, and you're able to use like all the synths with the you know, the string sounds, the Mellotron kind of stuff. So like you know you got all the spooky ghost sounds coming through. So it's been cool, but sometimes I say hi to the kids and then I present and I just play videos and watch them perform, at home. I don't know how like a virtual big band would work. Like I tell the kids to stay muted, which I'm gonna miss when I'm back in front of them. Be like, damn it, how come I can't shut you up
in real life?
It's so ridiculous though. The older kids, they think they're so slick. They turn their mics and their cameras off, right?
Oh my
and so I'm just doing my thing, but what I'll do is every couple of minutes I'll just call a name. And then when it's silence, I'll go, can someone tell Matt he's got a 0 today? That'd be great. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm here, Mr. D. Here. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's like, no, you're not, man. You're playing Fortnite.
You were smart.
Oh, yeah. Or they have the camera on, and I don't know if you could see my eyes, but I'm looking like above the screen. You can tell they're playing video games, and it's like, for the love of God, can you just? It's education, American education at its finest.
It's a different world. It's a different world. Well, that sounds like, in a way, you're forced to be creative in a different way. Like creating these songs for the kids. So it kind of sucks that you can't interact with them, but at least you're using different muscles, I guess.
I mean, I'm just grateful that I'm already kind of like, savvy with digital stuff, so that
that's helpful.
I've got colleagues who are literally shitting bricks every day, and I feel terrible for them.
Imagine.
Could you imagine being in your 30th year of teaching? I would just be like, bye everybody.
I would probably quit if I was 60 or older. I would just be like, all right, see you guys.
Why? Yeah. When I exactly, if I was of a certain age and I had like the time under my belt, it's like, I'll just go enjoy yourselves, I mean, at this point. And we have teachers like that, and they won't leave, and I have nothing against them. I'm just like, why are you doing this to yourself? They're like, oh, and how do you learn Screencastify, and how do you learn this and Google Classroom? And it's like, dude, you started teaching before I was born. Just enjoy the rest of your time. You're also at risk. Just stay home and enjoy yourself.
Stay home. Call it a day.
Yeah. Call it something. So, but you keeping in touch with back to the homies. You keeping in touch with everybody?
Yeah, it's been a little tough. I'm the kind of person that, like, it's a little harder for me to want to reach out to people. Like, it's easier if someone reaches out to me. But I've seen a few people actually while I was in Waterbury. I saw Jeff Morrow and Chris Thomas.
Of course, nice.
Yep. They were actually looking at a house in Waterbury.
Oh, I almost bought a house in Waterbury.
Really?
Back when I was teaching there, yeah. East End though.
Okay.
But that's cool. I know what you mean. I'm actually kind of the opposite. I feel better if I'm checking in on people.
Yeah.
So I'm like elated when someone thinks of me. I'm like, I'm not trying to I'm not fishing for a text message from anybody, but like I go through the roof. And so especially when it was like May, and you hadn't seen some people.
Yeah.
You started realizing like, wow, without like music, I don't see these following.
I know, yeah.
So I would try to like text people a couple times a week and just say, hey, what's going on? How are you? Just totally. As because it's really important, man. Like I really worry about a lot of people out there, especially so many good friends of ours, struggling financially with the state of the world as it is. You just hope that they're okay and stuff. And so it made me feel better to check in, because
you're so
I got paid to
though.
stay home,
Right, true.
Yeah, like
you were the lucky one.
I know. I mean, I like to think I did some good. I was raising money for the kids back in the spring because I was like, my brother is an essential worker, so I'm like, he is, he's out and trying to be safe, but has to be at work. And here I am, I'm home. So it's like the least you could do is like try to help out other people, that sort of thing. So,
totally.
But I feel like, I said this in the first episode, I was like, the night we can have that first jam session back, like indoors, it's going to be, no one's going to play any tunes because we're all going to just be like hugging and kissing hello. It's just going to be, It's going to be like an Italian Christmas.
It's so true what you said, though. It's like, not only are we like colleagues in the network, but like we're also just family. We're really good friends. So to not have gigs together is like, it's rough.
Well, it's, like I was saying, you don't realize that without the jobs, there's a certain amount of people that, you still consider a friend, but like the pandemic made me realize like, oh, they're like a professional friend. That's how they are. And because there's no professions, I'm not seeing this person. So I need to make sure that they're okay. And
stay in touch.
Yeah. But sure. I feel like it's going to be such a hang. I whenever I get bummed out, that's what I think about. I'm like, because the last night at Three Sheets, because you've been to that jam session. You've been there before. You should have seen what it was like there in January and February.
Yeah.
I mean, it was wall to wall. I can't say it enough. It was impossible to get on a tune because there were so many people,
Yeah, you really created something special there. Like, props to you.
Thank you. Well, I mean, it's quasi selfish because if there's a place to play, then I could play there too. But but no, I appreciate that. And it really, it makes me feel so good knowing that like a lot of you guys that especially that moved to New York, like, so, you were trying out your earliest stuff like on the Three Sheets stage. That's like really, really cool.
Totally.
Because I'm now getting to the point where I'm like a little bit more of an elder statesman, So it's like I get to see.
You've been through the ringer.
Oh, you're telling me. You're telling me. I was just like one of my my EP last year just turned 1, right?
Wow.
And I'm like, 1?
I know.
This wasn't recorded like 30 years ago. Like how is this only a year old? What are we talking about? And it's just the way things have changed. And like some of the guys on that recording are like some of the younger cats now, and it's just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm like that guy. I my bands are like 15 years younger than me now.
Hey, I think that's beautiful. Like whoever you play with, like if the chemistry is there, the music is there, that's all that matters.
Oh yeah, that's always been my philosophy. Is like it's the love of music. Way more over the ego and that sort of thing. Like it's just nice to play with people who are like in love with playing music.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
A friend of mine was saying like, you still approach music as if like you're in 5th grade. You're just excited to play the instrument, and it's like, hell yeah, man. And the great trumpet guru Lori Frank, who taught like everybody, she said like the same thing, and I was like, you know what? That's exactly how I feel, Lori, and that's why you're the best. Or God rest her soul, but she knew exactly what it was about. You gotta love it, And
Totally.
I think a lot of people, to circle back again as to like, you were saying you were doing your Bach conventions and stuff like that. I think people started realizing like, oh, this is supposed to be fun because now the music your instrument became what it represents to the layman is, it's fun first. And like, I think a lot of people, hopefully like that sticks around. Like hopefully when things get back to normal, people are a little bit more positive about just having the opportunity to play with people. I hope that's not like a novel thing that wears off.
Totally. Yeah. I think at least one of the things that I've been thinking about a lot, especially the past couple months, is like my initial relationship to music was like, oh, I really love music because it allows me to like bring my friends together and is a good outlet for, expressing my emotions, creativity. And then I feel like once you start studying it pretty seriously, like especially in college, you might lose sight of that sometimes. Like either I have to make money doing this, or like you just get really invested in it, and then at some point like it gets a little frustrating, or I don't know. But
you start to overthink at that point.
Yeah, you definitely start to overthink it at some point. And just like being able to get back to that initial mindset of when I was like in middle school playing piano just for the hell of it. Like that's what this past couple of months has been for me, just like getting back to that mindset.
Yeah, it's actually like a very zen thing to just be in the moment and to just, like, for instance, to just play the piano and just be there touching the keys, hearing the notes. That's the essence of what like a zen meditation is, and we lose that as adults, because then you got your phone out, which has your metronome going, but you're also thinking about like the gig you got to prepare for, but then like something's not working, and we got so worked up over all these other things, and then boom, all these external forces are gone, really, and now it's just you and the axe, man. And same thing, I feel like I've shed more horn this summer than I have since like 2003, maybe.
Wow,
where it was just like 2 solid hours every day of just thinking about the trumpet, thinking about music, not worrying about anything else, because there was nothing else to do. And you couldn't, and we love our TV, but there's only so much you could watch.
Right. Yeah, and then at a certain point it's kind of like you need to stimulate yourself, like your mind some other way. So just working on basics or playing whatever comes to mind is really relaxing in its own way.
Yeah, and it's also good to like venture out into anything else that you might be into. I think a lot of people, well, hopefully, I like to think a lot of people kind of took up new hobbies or something. I mean, people were baking bread and whatever,
oh my gosh,
but but no, I mean, like, that's a great thing. People should still do that. And I hope when things get back to normal, people, and by people I mean musicians, like, we remember to do these other things, like to Jared Caddy and I were talking about, I brought up Phil Woods and at his clinic when he was at school, he taught us, he was saying, like, you got to do stuff. You can't just be you and your axe the whole time. You've gotta, you've gotta broaden your canvas. I remember the word last time. I was like, oh, what the fuck? The thing you paint on. Anyway, if you've listened to episode 2, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And Jared,
amazing.
I will not forget the word canvas. But yeah, so Rose, like, tell our awesome listeners about since you're on the best podcast that ever existed.
Yes.
Let's
Happy to
say,
be here.
let's talk about your stuff. Like, what are your what's big and influential to you in your creative process? What are you checking out? What do you always go back to when you're about to do something new?
Yeah. So I've actually been the past year or maybe year and a half, I've been working on a couple of songs that I've been putting together as an EP. And I think it's almost nearly done. I've been working on it with Ben Carr Cartoons.
Oh,
so
cool.
That's been really, really fun. But yeah, I think the past 2 years or so I've been really focusing more on working on some music as a singer-songwriter, so working on my production chops and kind of writing these songs that I sing, which has been a really eye-opening experience, because before I had never really sung all that much. So finding the courage within myself to explore that other part of my musicianship has been really inspiring. So I've been listening to a lot, like one of my favorite bands. Everyone knows this is my favorite band, Moonchild. I've been.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you said that.
Yes. Whenever.
Because well, go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm glad you said that, because I'm like, oh, phew, thank God.
Whenever I need to put a smile on my face or just need to pick me up, I always like go back to them. And they have definitely been an inspiration to my sound. And they came out with an album around last year. So I got to see them in Brooklyn, which was really, really nice. Yeah.
Their Tiny Desk concert is one of my favorite Tiny Desk concerts.
So beautiful.
I got into them kind of just by chance. I think we're all just kind of checking out a lot of stuff that intertwines with itself with other music as well. And super chill. I I always appreciated that they were kind of like something I could put on that didn't sound like what I usually listen to. And I'm glad you say that. And everyone listening, got to check out Rose, got to check out her music. But some of her music is like, progressive piano, bass, drums, jazz trio. But then you have these, and this is why I was like, oh, thank God. You have these tracks that remind me of Moonchild.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I hope this is influential on her, because, I can kind of hear this. I kind of hear this stuff. And I love it when I can hear my friends or my colleagues or other musicians. I like when I can kind of figure out like what they're into. It makes me feel good about my own ears, because I'm like, oh, hey, they do work.
Yeah.
But I also don't feel so bad about the fact that like I try to emulate the things that I'm into, and also to see what you do on your own creatively. And right before we recorded, like I was saying, I checked out High Tides. I also played All Along. So I had Daisy and I were on the couch chilling to that, and I was like, wow, this is kind of like Moonchildy.
Yeah.
So, and that came out that came out 2019, but is that like new, or like is that almost like end of the year, or is that earlier?
Yeah, Ben Carr, that's another one that he and I did together, Ben Carr. And actually, honestly, without him, I don't think I would have done much of this singer-songwriter stuff. I had just moved to Brooklyn, and he was living like maybe 5 minutes away from me. So we decided to have a session together, and I had a song that I had kind of pieced together. I had actually written like my last semester at WestCon.
Oh, okay.
And that was my first song that I wanted to like produce and put out under my name as a singer. So that first session with him was like really inspired me to get into more writing for myself as a singer-songwriter in the sort of Moonchild style. And I had been listening to them since I was in high school, so just kind of was like already inside of me. I just needed to like get it out somehow.
Yeah. Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, and it seems like it was very organic how it came about, because I remember the first time like I think I heard you sing a tune on a gig, maybe. And I was like, oh, I didn't know this. Oh, okay. Very cool. I've got a terrible voice, but I've always wished I could sing. I'm making these videos for my students, and I'm just like, oh, I got to do another take of that. And,
you've already got the ear. You've already got the ear. So.
Right. Well, I've got a voice. I just wish it was better. But it's
what you got.
I know you do. It's just always been a pain in the ass to play a soprano sounding instrument and have a lower voice.
Yeah.
That's what always trips me up, is because like,
that must be weird.
I'm always like trying to sing the note that I can, that I'm hearing in the head. But that's really cool that you came to that. I mean, you weren't expecting it, I bet, when you kind of went down that path. But that's really hip. And you're trying to kind of do both, like, right? Like you're pursuing like yourself as a serious jazz composer and pianist, and then you also got this other side. That's really hip. I think that's cool. I think a lot of jazz musicians think that they can only play jazz. How dare they play anything else, or anything else can be considered as serious as jazz music. I think jazzers they take themselves way too seriously. They take the music way too seriously. And I think, not that it's not supposed to be taken seriously, but you know what I mean?
Right.
You hinder the creativity, and again, that childish glee by playing and creating when you take it so seriously. Do you feel like your singer-songwriter side kind of balances your jazzer side? Are they two different arenas, or are they like kind of intertwining once in a while?
Definitely intertwining, I think. Sorry, I think my mic just popped out. Okay.
That sounded better. I was like, whoa. Oh no. Okay. We're losing Rose. Hold on. Let's see.
Is that okay?
That's better, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Where should we take this from? I'll just
I asked you if your two different styles intermingle, or are they, or are you in a mindset when you do one thing versus the other, or is it like, I'm at the piano, ooh, this would work as something? Like,
yeah,
what?
I think they definitely intermingle a lot. Honestly, I feel like jazz is like the highest form of musicianship. Like it takes a lot to be good at jazz. So if you get that under your belt, you can really like tackle any other kind of musical style. So I think my jazz knowledge has really informed like all my other styles of writing. And yeah, maybe sometimes if I have an idea, it sounds more suitable for piano, or maybe I'll find a cool melody that fits well with some lyrics. But that's another thing for me, like lyrics aren't necessarily my strong suit. It's something I definitely need to work on.
Yeah. I don't even want to even try.
Yeah, it's
I wrote a song that I thought would sound cool with vocals, and I'm like, I gotta find someone to write the word. Like it will not be good if I'm left to do it.
Yeah, I hear you.
So.
Yeah, I have major respect for like actual singer-songwriters. So it's kind of been feels like a little bit of an imposter syndrome sometimes. Like I guess I am a singer, but like I don't know. So it's been a little bit of getting over that mentality and just, going for it and trusting my instinct. But
well, you I bet you have a greater appreciation for someone like Oscar Hammerstein, right? Because it's like, you think about all the tunes he just wrote lyrics to, and you're like, no, sometimes it's like, oh, music by, lyrics by, and you're like, the lyricist is like, not, he's like the lesser of the two, right? Like, I don't know, that's such an immature thing to think. And it's like, oh, the lyricist, he just put the words. It's like in the movie Chasing Amy by Kevin Smith. You've got Jason Lee and Ben Affleck are the two main characters. Ben Affleck is the comic artist, and Jason Lee plays the illustrator. And the whole joke is like, oh, you're not an artist, you just color in the lines.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, no, illustration is incredibly important. And as you get older and you dive into the into more the complexities of music, you realize, no, the lyricist, it has to be talented, has to know everything else that the composer, the musical composer side must know. Because like, how do you like create anything that makes sense, and like, I bring up Hammerstein because like, he wrote classics, he
so many.
Exactly. And same thing with like Lin-Manuel, right?
I was
like,
literally just thinking that. I was like, my parents and I watched Hamilton over quarantine, and I knew there was so much hype about it, and I was like, oh, it's probably pretty good, but I don't know.
No, then you realized it was fucking awesome, right?
How can one person be so brilliant?
It sucks like that. No, it sucks when you're like, I just want like a third of that ability, because it's like there's so many reoccurring themes. And how do you just know that the theme you just wrote could be used throughout the entire show over and change it melodically, motivically, but it's same thing. I watched, Jill and I watched Hamilton, and then my parents came over to watch it because we have Disney Plus, and it's just like, this is really good. This is really, really good. And lyrically speaking. And I kind of knew because I teach the kids about Broadway. So I was already teaching them about In the Heights, which is Lin-Manuel as well. And, you take a song like You're Welcome from Moana, and you're like, this song is so fucking clever. And that's the thing. Like, it's one thing to have the hooks and the melodies and stuff, but the lyrics are what, especially like regular people, that's what they're listening to. And if you've got good lyrics, that again, oh my God, we're completely full circle. That's why Weird Al is the fucking man. Think about it. Weird Al is a fucking genius. I will.
He is.
He is. And I feel like people are like, Oh yeah, I liked Weird Al when I was a kid. Motherfucker, listen to Weird Al now. He's so funny, dude. He's so funny. He's so smart. He just
probably
put out.
will enjoy him even more as an adult.
Oh yeah, oh for sure. He actually put something out the day after the debate. So
wow.
I've been yeah, it's called like We're All Gonna Die or something like that.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, but I forgot. I forgot until just now. I gotta go check that out.
Man.
Which reminds me that the VP debate is tonight.
Yeah, it is.
I'm trying to keep politics off the pod, but I am looking forward to Kamala wiping the floor with that bowl of plain oatmeal.
Oh, that's a very good definition of him.
Yes. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, but, we'll stop there for politics.
But yeah, let's thank you, Rose. It's been awesome to have you on. But before you go, like what are you hoping for? What are your goals? What do you got your eye on when it comes to your music and your craft? Because it's something to be something to be said. You handle yourself very well. You come off as an original. You're humble. You're great to work with. You've subbed in my band many times, and it's always been great. You always come like you've done your research. It's like you didn't just take the charts and show up at the gig. Like whenever you backed me up or you were subbing for someone in my group, I knew you checked out the tunes. So like, you are legit. You are there is nothing no, I mean every word. So when I have someone like this on the show, it's like, tell me what do you got your eye on what's the prize they got your eye on?
Ooh, that is a great
or just some
question.
hopes,
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for all those sweet comments. This makes me miss hanging out with people like even more, just like making each other feel good, like hyping each other up. That's one of the best parts.
I think part of the pod is like this cathartic healing that's going on with the separation. I feel like
definitely separation anxiety.
Yeah, I think like part of it is like it's just so good to see my colleagues and friends, but also it's like because of what we've gone through and the fact that like it's not over, it makes you like make sure that you say the things that you've thought about people known, so I mean every word. Honestly, it's always been great. It's always great to work with you.
Likewise.
And oh, thank you. And it's always I feel bad. I need to like make a playlist of my friends' music.
Yeah,
I had Dan Lipperini on a couple weeks ago.
Oh yeah, he just released a
album, right? and it's a great record. It really is. And I'm not, I honest to God mean it when I say I am just so lucky. I feel so grateful that I have such talented friends and that they want to make music with me. So I need to make a playlist of my friends' stuff and just keep that, on standby more often. So anyway, enough of this mushy shit. What keeps you going? What keeps you going? And what do you hope to? What are some of your goals? Long term, short term, midterm? What do you think?
The first thing that comes to mind is just to keep learning, like, not stay complacent with where I'm at and just always try to learn something new from either my friends or online or while I'm creating something spontaneously. So just, keep moving forward and learn something new to add to my toolbox that I've already, created a pretty strong toolbox.
I feel like our lot is never, we're never idle to begin with. We're always kind of like looking for the next thing, and not even in like an addictive, abusive way. Just we're all like naturally inquisitive.
Totally, yeah. Curiosity is like one of the most powerful things.
Yeah, absolutely. And the music makes you like that, because like if for me, I learned my first Kenny Dorham solo. It was like, well, here's another one, and here's another one. Oh, and here's a Freddie solo, and this is how they this is like the same concept but two different approach, all that stuff. Like the music keeps us always, looking for more. So that's a perfect answer to just keep bettering yourself. I think a lot of people are just beginning to realize that, like, self-love and self-care is important, not when it's in the middle of a global pandemic, but
Oh,
in
yeah.
general, you know.
Yeah, always.
So, but what are you checking out? Like, let's end on what are you listening to? Like, what's the recommendation you can give me? What should I queue up when I'm closing up shop tonight?
Let's see. Two things come to mind. First of all, the latest Brandy album is like really amazing.
Brandy.
I don't know if you were a fan of her in like the 90s, early 2000s.
No, I thought that's who you like. That's the only Brandy I'm aware of. So
Yeah.
I'm like, Brandy.
I know it's
Sure,
kind of
man.
random.
No, it's all legit. It's all good.
Yeah. Her like the production on her albums are really cool, and her vocals, like she's just one of the most amazing singers of all time. So
That's awesome that she's still doing stuff. That's great.
Yeah, I think her last album was a while ago. So I've been listening to the new one a lot, and also Itamar has been showing me a lot of Israeli music, which I'll have to send to you. It's really crazy stuff, like harmonically, melodically.
I always dug the bassist Omar Avital. I hope I said his name right. His Live at Smalls is one of my favorite records of all time. Yeah. Okay. Jason Lindner on piano.
Oh, I love
Jonathan Blake. Nice. Avishai Cohen on trumpet and Joel Fromm maybe on sax. It's just so
that's a lineup.
It's fucking killing. Ask Eric about it. Eric.
Okay.
Eric will back me up. I know, me too. He will back me up that it's like one of the greatest records we've ever heard. Okay. And most of the tunes on that record are pretty like, New York, East Coast, jazz and whatnot. But a lot of his he's got other albums basically where he's really diving into his Israeli roots. I'm pretty sure he's Israeli. I might be wrong about that.
It sounds
I'm sorry.
very Israeli.
Okay, I'm sorry if I misidentified his country of origin. I just know I'm in the right area of the world. Yeah. Just the scales that are using, the harmonies, the rhythms. It's super
Israelis,
cool.
Man, their musical minds are crazy.
Yeah. It's just special. I feel like I could spend a whole show just talking about like the tonal ingredients to like the scales they use and stuff, and no wonder why, like, if you know world history, like it makes flamenco make more sense, and then you go back and you listen to Sketches in Spain and you're like, no wonder why Miles was like obsessed with this stuff, because like it's like it's very exotic. I feel like that stuff is the most exotic when it
really
comes
beautiful.
to it's just very it's very it's riveting, basically, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think Avishai Cohen, he I don't know how many songs, but he has a couple of songs where he sings in this like, it's like a combination of Hebrew and Spanish. It's
no way.
Yeah, it's a really interesting combo. So like those two flavors together.
Avishai, the trumpet player, or Avishai, the bassist?
The bassist.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah. No. Okay. I'm more familiar with
the trumpet.
The trumpeter. Yeah. But also insane. That guy.
Yeah. Both of them.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. It's like I kind of don't even consider him a trumpet player because he's just so above in the technicality department. It's just like, yeah. Okay. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay.
I've got a Masada album here that I really dig. Yeah. And I want to. Okay. I love Zorn. Yes. I especially love his Masada records. So I needed to find a couple, but there's this one, and now I'm gonna go back and listen to it because it's been forever. But it's called Mycale, Mycale. It's four vocalists. Ooh. It's Masada Book of Angels 13. It's awesome. I'll send you the info, but man, it was on my shelf right to the side here, and I was like, I haven't listened to this thing in years. It's from 2010, so cool. I love all that Zorn Masada stuff.
Yeah, so is that just like a series of pieces? Like there's different albums, Masada.
So there's Masada the group, and I'm a big Dave Douglas fan, and he's the trumpet player. It's Dave. Zorn on alto, and then bass and drums. I want to say Joey Barron on drums usually.
Okay.
And Greg Cohen on bass. I'm pretty sure he's on the record I listen to the most. But there's also Masada as like a series almost. I know there are people that know the the deal more than me. So like there's Masada the band that has like 1 million records, and they're like a Middle Eastern version, Jewish version, excuse me, of like the Ornette Coleman quartet, which is really cool. I know you do. I know you do. I think we bonded over Ornette's first record, Something Else.
Something Else.
Yeah,
I have that out, like the vinyl. I have it hung up on my wall.
Nice. I always liked that one, and Tomorrow's the Question, the one right after it. Yeah. So yeah, Masada sounds like that, and then there's like Masada Records, but there are always other bands. So like one is done by Medeski, Martin, and Wood. One is the group I just said. I have one with Mark Ribot. So Jamie Saff, the keyboardist.
Right.
Just different. There's a band he's got called the Dreamers. That's really cool. They play like surf rock meets Israeli music, I guess.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'll send you all this stuff when we finish up here. But okay, so Israeli music from Itamar. Tell him I said hi, by the way. I don't think I've seen him since I probably saw him at that gig at Cafe 9 if he came. But if he didn't, if he didn't, I think the last time I said hi to him or saw him was I think you backed me up at Pianos, maybe.
Yeah, he joined.
Yeah, I think that might have been the last time. So it's been a while. So please give him my best. But Rose, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on. Thank you for hanging out digitally.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Rosemary Minkler, everybody. Yeah. Where can everyone find you?
I'm on Instagram, _ Rosemary Music. I got stuff on Spotify, iTunes. If you want to check out my music, feel free to reach out to me. If you're a homie, I'd love to say hi and catch up. But yeah, stay safe, everybody.
Yeah, wear your mask and wash your hands. And Rose, this has been fun. So we'll see you. Thanks to everyone who listened, and I hope to see you sooner than later. This was great. So
agreed.
Till then, all right. Take care.
Peace.
All right, guys. So that was my interview with Rose. I hope you enjoyed it. It's always a pleasure to talk to her, and because of what's going on, it's just it means that much more. And it's funny, doing this podcast has made me realize that I'm really appreciating the opportunity to talk to some of my colleagues that I haven't talked to in a while. Because, man, like we said earlier, without the gigs and the scene and the jam sessions and stuff, there's a lot of people that I haven't seen. Not that I'm not thinking about you guys. Think about all of you all the time, but I think this is going to be part of the healing process, at least for me. So I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Rose is super cool. Make sure to check out her music. So I think after I finish the episode, I'm gonna kick back, get on the couch, and put on a classic horror movie one I watch every Halloween season. Night of the Living Dead. I basically go between the original from the late 60s and the remake of the early 1990s. Both are incredible. George Romero's version, obviously the first one, created an amazing genre, and Tom Savini's remake from 1990, which is almost like, in a way, frame for frame. It's like the same story, just redone. It's like a remake that surprisingly is awesome. We have so many remake movies ad nauseum, it seems, and most of them are pretty shitty. The 1990 Tom Savini Night of the Living Dead is fucking killing. So I'm definitely going to pop that one on and kick back, relax for the rest of the night. I hope you guys enjoyed the pod, and I hope you keep checking it out. Hit that subscribe button. I love doing this. This is really fun. And, drop a line. Drop me a text. Drop me an email. Let me know what you think of the show. I'm trying to figure out what formats work the best and, how to keep this thing going and interesting. So, we're all learning here, as we say when we're remote teaching the kids. We're all in this together, and we're all learning at the same time. Anyway, so that'll do it for me today, and I hope you guys like it, and tune in next time. So in about 2 weeks, the next episode drops. I'm going to be doing this basically bi-monthly. So till then, I'll see you next time. I'm Nick DeMaria, and this is Mr. Millennial's Revenge. Thanks so much. Take care.